Hello and thank you all for watching. This is Manny Sunny Sun for a summer solstice report. We'll be speaking about Sun in Cancer, the sign of Cancer, and what the Moon represents, and then we will finish off with the life sector around the zodiac of the house number 4. And so the sign Cancer is the first of the water signs. It is the zodiacal series and recalls of the early summer. Comfortable, warmth, raw, dampness, ruled by the moon. The maternal and imaginative star, Cancer, is analogies with the house number 4 and represent home, family, our nurturance, our earlier environment, and it represents our home roots. See that the native analogies for this sign, and we'll be speaking about the psychological impacts of the Cancer, and we'll end it off with what characterizes a very strong Cancer sign. And so, having sought advice from family, I took the help, and I will talk about myself. But with caution, as prudence is the native Cancer, the first the virtues is of human relationships. Even if I do everything to seem sure of myself, and think pretty much how to get there. I think I'm too sensitive to really be a fighter. I love the peace and quiet, animals. In short, I do not really have the profile of a wolf or with long teeth or shark. But compensated by other qualities which enable me to do merry way. Imagination is a really good dose of intuition. Allows me to gently squeeze where others deploy an arsenal. Anyway, this is my home and my family who mean the most to me. And even if I try to do my own whole in this world, it is to able to take care of them because I get most of my energy of those relationships I love. If I were alone in the world, even without even a cat would be a companion. Well, I think of me as snug as possible to cave, and that I could spend my days reading and dreaming, perhaps to create things because I was told that is very fruitful. Um, Besides, I like solitude, and though I love feeling in with good company and receiving affection and give meaning to my own existence, I also like the time I hide myself in the corner. I fold myself into my own small quarters or my secret garden to relax and recharge my own batteries. Above all, the adage is after exercise there is pleasure, and this is an ideal for all native Cancers. So if my mind ever turns not toward mine or to any creative act, he will turn willingly to the past, history, or old things, but I accumulate without really knowing why. They tell me I'm nostalgic. This is probably true because I believe that the past is the breeding ground for this, and that's probably why this nature has given me an excellent memory. I think one of my biggest problems is that my energy runs out quite fast. Yet I'm not a lazy person, but I do get tired quite quickly and can play my mood as much as I can to fit in as gay as a lark, as fatigue undermines my spirits and makes me become morose and taciturn. In these cases, the best solution here is for some little rest and to take in a few minutes of peace during which my batteries are recharged. However, be confident. I know but to bite a bullet and show me a copy if you can't count on me. And those who depend on me often do not even have the feeling that that I am beyond every day for them. My maternal instinct is indeed quite powerful, and it tends to be expressed itself in all levels of emotion. Even when I do not specifically deal with children, my main weakness is my emotional, and sometimes just a word or moves me very, very bad. So I can then easily be depressed because I feel unloved quite fast. I often compensated by food. Eating is something reassuring, friendly, and festive. That is why the greatest sympathy testimony is to frequently invite people over to dinner. They say cancers are influenced. I'm not sure it's entirely true, because I'm very faithful of my own feelings, my own thoughts, and let's say I'm influenced by the family, that I cannot deny it, but I sincerely believe that if my brother, my mother, and my best friend were trying to convince me of or this or that, it's probably for my own good, so I let it be. And I think that I have said almost everything, or almost, because I am probably a little too timid, too shy to reveal myself for sympathy, to reveal myself completely. But why not study the theme of Camilla Parker? She has a sun, moon, Mercury, Venus in Cancer. So there's something for you to know about. Cancer represents the fourth house. Rulership is the moon, and it is in home in Cancer. The opposite sign is Capricorn here with Cancer. Cancer represents early childhood. It is a yin sign. It symbolizes the past, the crowd population. It represents cold, wet, moist, in the body. Cancer represents breast, the uterus, the stomach, and the digestive functions. The qualifications or the key words or the what Cancer rules, basically it's imagination, receptivity. The feminine quality represents altruism, mediumship, clairvoyance, the imagination, basically. The astronomical analogies with Cancer, the unique satellite that rotates around the Earth, acting virtually terrestrial. This phenomenon rules the tides, plans, growth, biorhythms of life. Its surface is made of ash and lava and riddles with craters. The moon is reassuring light of our nights. It's a reflection of sunlight. It is therefore inseparable from the sun during his overnight relay. The brilliant, when man seizes its activities, it is the passivity. However, this passivity is only apparent since falling to act and create, man plans, dreams, and let his mind vacant. It is therefore dreams, fantasies, and imagination. If the night, the moon replaces, say, the sun, our consciousness is replaced, therefore, with the unconscious mind, another area of this lunar type. But the moon, its phases, is also an astronomical metaphor with the disappearing completely when the conjunction of the sun is less from a new moon with the moon. It's about 3 nights. It reappears in a very thin crescent, and over these 12 nights it grows to become a full moon, and after which the volume decreases again. So the sky watchers could not fail to see this celestial transposition or the rhythms of life, birth, growth, the decline or deficient or pregnancy, and the childbirth. The moon, of course, is inseparable from the sun. It is a short step from the father sun, and it is accompanied by the mother moon. Moreover, we find this notion of the lunar cycles of 28 days, which of course follows with the female menstruation cycle, and in general the moon will be the symbols for the women. So, the moon, because it does not emit its own light, it only reflects that which is dependent upon, which fulfills its different places, its different phases, and it therefore is not denied on the other. It never assigns the same qualities. It always changes, variability, and it always deals with fantasy. So finally, the moon. Because it seems overborn and dies, gives birth, and gets pregnant, it is a strong symbol of eternal life and also reincarnation. The mythological analogies with this Cancer sign, many people have defined and personified this moon. Very often one finds the sister or wife of the sun, in short, for essential to life. We can think including Isis, sister and wife of Osiris, the goddess of fertility, land, and women. She holds the secrets of life, death, the resurrection of Osiris, and it was nature that was deified. One can also think of Selene, the Luna, the sister and wife of Helios, who had dozens of children, abundance, multiplicity, childbirth, or Artemis, which 1,000 breaths, fosters a mother par excellence. Finally, we will discuss here Hera, Juno, wife of Zeus, the goddess of marriage, fidelity, but also jealousy or resentment. The symbolic analogies with this sign, it's the moon in astrology. The morning star evokes the woman, the mother, and the crowd, the children, fertility, babies, which is very close and opposite to the sun, which symbolizes the sky, the material, the mundane. By extension of this, of duality of the sun, which represents spiritual, grandiose, and the material of the body, always in opposition to the sun, the ethereal spirit, fertility, the womb, the food, the imagination, the fantasy we dream of. So, the moon also symbolizes growth, decay, and it's a very changeable sign. So, the beginning and the end, reincarnation, which binds together a number of lunar classes: birth, death, growth, incarnation, and the corporeal matter. So, the moon also has resent everything of origins, instincts, collective, unconscious, genealogy, heredity, past memories, memories of traditions, or memories of customs. So, the moon is finally the emotion, intuition, the softness. Its main values are attributed generally because of the female motif. So, it relates generally to the mood that is changing and fast, very fleeting, as our satellite is. To be good or bad, or cranky. So regarding the anatomy of this moon, it handles the stomach, breast, the lymphatic system, sight, with the sun, since the view depends on their purveyors of light. So socially, the moon symbolizes a crowd, the public, population, customers, the masses, and as a whole, it reacts with their emotions more than reason. It also represents globally the dreams, the artists, the poets, the visionaries, those that have called on the lunar rightly. And so, we might end this with the portrait of a dominant lunar sign. So it is necessary to be a Cancer to have all these features and attributes indeed. A natal chart, just like you. The moon is dominant planet, so we'll see the calculation in this lexicon that is dominant. Native naturally develops the qualities and defects of this planet, the mistress, traditionally known as Cancer. However, the dominance of the moon, the subtle shades of temperamental compared to the dominance of the sign of Cancer. So here's a portrait of a lunar type. The moon being endowed with great sensitivity, he feels everything more than it smells. Naturally, the dreamer and instinctive portion, his entire life has been based primarily on emotion and sentimentality. These traits, however, are not just the emotional side that we reflect in every act of this life. It is receptive, though. It acts to all tokens of affection and all expressions, and of affection and all that is delicate towards our attention. So more than any other, the moon has a faculty of understanding the world around him through his power of perception is increased. The construction of his personality is based on gathering of all energy so that their dreams take more of a shape and become reality. But this construction can sometimes be quite a task if his dreams are not issued all by illusions. So the moon is of a nature that is nostalgic, based on memories and past lives of memories, the guardian of memories, the heritage, heredity, and customs. He is very attached to the place, customs, cultures, and history. These are based and allows it to be located in time and space. So, it is a being all at once, adaptable, impressionable, always presenting to the other a face that is expected of him or her. It overflows with the imagination like the company and entertainment, and it is demonstrated a great sense of humor, not disdaining having an audience to give representation. He likes to cultivate one side, and that is whimsical, and does not hesitate to caricature, to animate this derisively. allowing him to leave his conventional personality. Nevertheless, um, it retains a spirit of fearful, anxiousness, a bit pushy, uh, the passivity and indolence. The moon is therefore an a contradictory character and mysterious, which can also be equally exercised by the right direction, most down earth, as the idealism is quite exalted. So, its multiple contradictions can make it look like an inconsistent, facetious, in the eyes of those around him. His side is changing and sometimes whimsical, which may be a surprise. He also has shown a lot of modesty and humility because it does not seek to impose by force or brilliance, just by pure gentleness. The moon is perpetual, its search of emotional protection. This stems from a deep love that his, her, or family is, especially his parents. Therefore, it will not be the case to produce the same pattern in his personal life. The notions of fertility, of course, which is very important to this native. It will focus this energy on the foundations of a family that will be his own merit, in which it will be realized fully. It is also over the second youth through her children, are her children. Indeed, the home is the most successful manifestation of this fulfillment of this lunar sign. It reaches its goals. It will not count on organization and management of daily while maintaining that part of dream and perfection and feelings that are more hold and dear to him or her. Curious about everything, he will have many interests throughout life in social terms. The lunar needs to feel useful and recognized to exist, which frequently leads him to a more public career, which teaching, staff, showbiz, commerce, etc. His love of tranquility and nature, no accepted to the craft of woodworking or drawing, etc., and the work that is mostly done at home. A malignant forecast for the sign in Cancer, if human beings can improve or evolve, erasing its flaws that highlights its qualities. Well, it also happens the contrary. It became entangled in its most negative impulses. The sign regression can be driven by alcoholism and with particularly difficult life with circumstances or by the accumulation of neurosis. The fact remains that this own sign value is largely corrupt and can make a vitriolic, here is a description of Cancer, a lunar sign, in what it can develop a more negative and more despicable. This picture, of course, applies equally to men and women. A negative or cold Cancer, the crab, an old crab, a morbid, a emotionalism. It is a very prey of his entourage. His naivety and his tendency to flee responsibility and the principle of reality. It is folded within its own shell, personal fantasies. He soon emerges with the stone, inert, mute, and entirely dependent of his own environment that shapes it. Of course, is often very complex and very plaintive. It can explode in a flash of anger or deceive his whole world. But he has yet within him no certainty blissfully and will follow the last, so to speak, rather than embrace the whole world. It is out to clip to clip. It will tend to draw others in a bubble in his own decline, and as long as charm or acting, he will come in his own world feeling very sorry enough for her poor victims, mainly chosen from within the family. Eventually, the return to his own game, and accompany on a very steep slope of his own rantings and approximations. Whimsical, susceptible, it's all very too extreme, and positivity pushes him to nostalgia or even neurasthenia, and is the internal whiner who seeks balance through a strong person, a rock, and it will focus on how to shelve its vampireses. Gradually, the vital cord of energy of enthusiasm. Often, our cold crab here, our old crab here, is given to undue priority to intuition, often distorted by his own fantasies, and this will be the man or women, like we've mentioned, or the great